Talking with University of Montana Vice President for Integrated Communications, Peggy Coor. Long-awaited numbers for spring enrollment have been released. So, Peggy, what can you tell us?
Well, Peter, what I can tell you is for spring semester, we have released the numbers. We were expecting a decline, and the decline is about a 4.7% overall decline from where we were in the spring a year ago. But that number fits our overall projection for where we needed to be, and in the end, the good news for us is it's what we expected, and our current budget will be met for the fiscal year that we're already in. We're more than halfway through that fiscal year, so that's important news to confirm to everyone.
All right. Now, what are some good things? If we have a decrease in enrollment, there are some good things too, right?
Well, the one thing with decrease in enrollment we need to remember is we have, when we're turning the enrollment picture around, it's a long-term process. So because we had several years of smaller incoming enrollment, those smaller classes have to move through the 4+ years of education they have here. So what we look at are the numbers for the first time entering freshmen, because that's how you wind up turning those overall numbers around on a long-term basis. So the numbers for last fall, for starters, and that's, of course, when most students start their school year, we were up in the number of first-time entering freshmen on the Mountain campus. And we are up again this spring semester. So we feel good about that. We also feel good to see that the retention numbers for the fall freshmen, that is the new freshmen who came in the fall, they are staying spring semester, and indeed our retention went up slightly this year compared to a year ago. So again, we're focusing on those incoming freshmen because that's how we start to see long-term enrollment moving in a positive direction.
So, Peggy, when you say that there won't be that much impact on the budget, do I hear you saying that you won't have to cut programs or personnel or that sort of thing? In other words, because it came in kind of where you expected, you've already planned for it.
Well, we planned for it for the current semester and the current fiscal year we're in. So what we're looking at, our spring numbers let us know where we are, what's coming in this spring. And so what that means is everything we're doing right now we'll continue to do. And obviously we would need to. Classes are already well underway for spring semester. What this also does now is allow the people who do the budget planning and projection work, it gives them the picture for the full year now, the fall semester and the spring semester, to clarify what we think we're going to see for the next fiscal year, which starts July 1. And in that one, we're still looking to see what the projections are. And we do anticipate, again, overall enrollment, because of these smaller classes moving through, total overall enrollment will decline again, and that has an impact on the budget that we need to work out for next year.
All right, and so how will that be addressed? Obviously, have the meetings already begun on that, or is that something you'll address later?
No, the meetings begin. We start looking ahead at the end of the calendar year, but they really are in earnest now, where we need to be planning for fall classes. We need to be looking at programs and facilities and where we are. There are a lot of projections that are based on what we've seen happen in the past and what we're seeing right now. But we won't know for sure because, of course, we're in a legislative year, so even the budget that involves the state appropriation, which goes to the Commissioner of Higher Education and then comes to all the universities, none of that is set in stone. However, based on our expectations, we're working to build a budget now because we need to let people know what to expect.
Okay,
Final numbers won't be approved until May, but we work on it all the way through the spring semester.
Okay, so will the numbers that you received and released today, will that affect, perhaps in the minds of legislators, how much they want to appropriate for the University of Montana in the biennium?
Really, I think what the legislators are looking at is overall how the system is funded and what the needs are. And so what we look at through system funding, and the Montana University system works as a whole, is really based on your fall student numbers, and that is something they're looking at system-wide, and then the Helena office looks at how the individual units under MSU and under U of M are working. So it's really less a legislative issue and more long-term, what are we doing and what are the needs? And then there we're looking at not only legislative appropriations to the Office of the Commissioner of Higher Education, but also there's a research initiative, there's a long-range building plan. So I think legislators are looking at much more a universal perspective about education and its role in the state.
Okay. Any final words for our listeners as to these numbers and how they should perceive where the University of Montana is at this point?
Well, I think we've said just about everything, Peter. I mean, the key is it's a long-term process. We are meeting the expectations that we had, and then we continue to work full bore on recruiting, and especially looking at new incoming freshmen, new people coming into the system, and once they're here, making sure they succeed and stay. So those key factors for us are continue to look good, and so we're optimistic about the future.